feature of the evening. So we also have Angelia. She's going to tell us a little bit more about her WGSN.com and things that she wants us to know about trends and things. Thank you.
Okay, while we set up, I have to put a disclaimer. I'm from the business to business world, so I'm going to be the boringest of all the three speakers tonight. But first of all, thank you, Karen. I think Tony's slide about those three wonderful circles really sums up the three aspects of social media that we're trying to achieve. You've got the purpose, you've got the technology. One thing I like to do is give you a bit of the insight on who these consumers are on social media. One thing we hear a lot about is social media is about humanizing the brand experience. It is about humans. And so I want to bring back your focus on who these people are. But before I do that, I have to do a bit selling. Let me read from the script, the boring script. Okay, we've been providing insight for the fashion industry for the last 13 years. We deliver the most winning styles in the fashion industry according to color, materials, and silhouettes. And of course, we look particularly at behaviors in the consumer because that gives us a clue on what people want to buy. Now, we've got a big list of contributors. They are some of the best and the brightest in the fashion industry, and over 200 of them work on WGSN. And we firmly believe that effective advice in the industry comes from someone you trust. And WGSN is that trusted source. But we go on to our consumer insight. One of the big things that WGSN does is identify who your consumer is. Who are these people reading the websites? Who are the people buying your products? And it gives a human face. Again, that word human. Gives a human face for you so that you can imagine someone real when you design some of your programs or you talk to them. Now, I've done this presentation several times now. It was a forecast created for 2012, and we released it about a year and a half ago. And it was about Asian consumers, Asian youth consumers. And our first consumer here is the world-class citizen. Now, currently, this represents a very small percentage of Chinese youth, and we believe it will start to grow. Actually, we have a world-class citizen in our midst today, and that's, of course, Fire. Now, the world-class citizen is independent, willful, and self-centered. Sorry. But he represents an elite taste-making class of the future. Now, we see here that in the light of the post-Mao era, they are really trying to reform and emphasize on their modernization, and they will lead the way in redefining what that role means in a cosmopolitan world. Now, we see that style blogs such as Style Life, that's based in Beijing, have really come into their own in the past year. And we see that the world-class citizens really have taste, and they're using that taste as their weapon. And it is a means to an end, and it is about delivering their global style as an educational tool to the rest of the world. So we see here that it is really driven by 80% of the Chinese consumers that are below the age of 45. So they're a huge group there. And they are stretched between the glamour of the past and the promise of the future. And these consumers really represent a very fierce culture of creative entrepreneurs who go for what they want and they get it. In particular, I know Ho definitely wants some Balenciaga, so he's going to get some later on. Givenchy, that's right. So we know that the media have picked up on it, and there are lots of bloggers online in China now that are very willing to show off what they've bought and how stylish they look. Ho is one of them again. A very, very perfect example. I'm so glad to have him in the audience because he really puts some of our research into reality here. Now, our second one is slightly different. These are called the Quiet Revolutionaries. And this was driven by a wonderful event that happened in Hong Kong, where some of the youth actually went out into the streets to protest the building of a railway track. Now, the Quiet Revolutionaries are not about protest per se in the traditional sense, so there's no violence. Instead, they're looking to move into villages and farms to deliver their messages. They're not about screaming, shouting, violence, what they have here in Hong Kong particularly, we saw a young group of people who actually went into the villages on the weekends and started living that lifestyle in an effort to say, I disagree with what you're saying and what you're doing, but I'm not going to participate in that conversation. This is the conversation that I want to have, and this is the lifestyle that I want to continue. So we also saw the prostrating walk of the 5 districts last year, and there were 20-something-year-olds here that kneeled and deeply bowed every 26 steps, and it was used to signify their disdain for the railway. Since that time, we've really seen a rise of the eco-protester, and they've used that village as a base for their communication. They farm, they cook, they learn the tricks of a really rustic lifestyle that, several years ago, we, as urbanites, we did not want to participate in. The same thing is happening in Tokyo. This is the Shibuya girls. Now, the Shibuya girls created Shibuya 101, and they've since moved into the farms, and now they're selling rice. They're also, it says here, developing fashionable farm clothes that can be worn every day. So really cool stuff. And over here, another one from Japan, we see the rustic activities of fishing coming through and making it very real again, that idea of quiet revolutionary. So until now, we know that the Asian youth culture has very much been top-down controlled. And the mass media is the biggest influencer. But the internet, of course, has created far more new opportunities to connect with these consumers that I said above. And the tribes use online media and communication to build their network. So it's really important not just to be in their network, but to communicate messages that are in line with what they want to achieve. So there are about 500 million netizens in China at the moment. And new media platforms are really emerging on a daily basis. So we know that it's ever-changing. And brands such as LV, Gucci, Burberry have all taken to different forms and different channels. And over here you see, I think you might remember it. If you're in Hong Kong, you probably got this posted on your Facebook timeline, which was Lane Crawford's Most Desired campaign from last year. And it encouraged people to just post as many times, and if it was reposted, they could win one of those bags. So what a great campaign. The other campaign that really caught our eye was Jack Wills. And what was important about it, as a global business, we started to see the merging of Western and Eastern brands come together, Eastern social channels come together. And Jack Wills, when they entered Hong Kong, they really made an effort to go to Weibo. And we really need to congratulate them on that, because are they here in the audience? Well, if you're part of that plan, congratulations, you deserve a raise. Excellent. Excellent. So 2 of the brands that we love at the moment at WGSN in the room. We're going to shake hands later on. I didn't bring a prize, but I will send you something. And of course, WGSN's own Tumblr blog, we definitely need to mention this. I think, for online media such as us that revolutionized the trend forecasting business about 13 years ago, we've seen the online media really play a part in how people communicate their fashion ideas to us. And the Tumblr blog was launched 2 weeks ago, and I believe we're up to, overnight we got 5,000 extra followers, so that was fantastic. And of course, it's one of our favorite projects for the year, along with Jack Wills and Lane Crawford. So I encourage you to all take a look really at the click-through fashion, and I hope that will set the scene for the discussion that will come later as we talk to some of the brands and the bloggers about how they're managing those fashion communication messages and helping it spread the word further. Okay.
We're happy that some of the brands are here and we can do more exchange. So we'll take a short break of about 15 minutes whereby we can do a lot of exchange of name cards, sharing of information. And if you like to do something with planking, the girls are here. Grab your chance. And leave your name cards with us because we'll have a lucky draw later on this evening with brands sponsoring gifts for us. So do leave your name cards with us if you want to be part of the lucky draw. So enjoy your 15-minute break and we'll see each other soon.